Disclaimer: the games being used as case studies shown have been modded to various extents, some more than others. However, these modifications do not detract from the main aspects, mechanics, and functions of each game. I am not sponsored by any of these games. This is merely for educational purposes. While I do use other characters of mine as added devices to help move the video along, unless directly quoting someone, all words and opinions are my own. Special thanks to my friend, Nix, for helping with part of this video. What makes a video game appealing? In recent times, the game market's gotten bigger, with lots of people making all sorts of games both big and small, so it's important for these creators and companies to get their work seen. After all, the aim of a game is to reach as many people as possible. That's kind of why they're so reproducible, somewhat. There's a lot of different factors that can draw people towards playing a game, from compelling, complex stories, to a renowned series beloved by many, to beautifully stunning graphics and designs. All of these factors are very compelling depending on who you are. And yes, while all of these are important, there's one thing that not only makes games good, but also makes them stand out from the rest. And that's mechanics. Specifically games that aren't afraid to have their mechanics be a bit different. After all, the mechanics of a game are how your player explores the world around them. In a way, the game's world is kind of molded around these mechanics. And while I suppose that big companies can get behind the security of a series, it wouldn't hurt all that much to try something new, like Splatoon's spin on first-person shooters. But I'm not here to talk about those bigger games. I'm here to talk about how, as small as they can be, games can be grand by exploring new avenues and making innovations through their mechanics. And we start in the grandest place of all, space. And here we have my favorite fox to assist me. This is Seto. He is originally a character I made, but I ported him into the very first game we'll be looking at, Narrator, what are you doing here? Oh, I just thought you'd like to help with the presentation and stuff. Wait, is that the one with the grenade special? Yes. Hold still. Wait! Welcome to Starbound. Released on Steam on July 22nd, 2016 by Chucklefish Studios, Starbound is a game all about traversing through the galaxy after your graduation ceremony from the Terran Protector gets wrecked by an eldritch death god called the Ruin. You barely escape with nothing but a few weapons, a broken down ship, and a matter manipulator, a tool that allows you to destroy and build with the pull of a trigger. After fixing your ship, you meet Esther Bright, a researcher of the Ruin. It's up to you to collect the 6 artifacts corresponding with each race to open the gate to the Ruin and defeat it once and for all before it destroys the universe. At least that's the story of it, which to be frank is entirely optional. Ultimately, Starbound is about exploration and creation, from decorating your ship to your desires and upgrading it to its potential, recruiting the people you meet from planet to planet as fellow crew members, upgrading your matter manipulator to make it collect more matter faster, connect electrical components to make moving structures, paint over tiles for a splash of color, meeting new people and making new little towns, to one-shotting just about every boss including the Ruin, though I guess this is mostly possible through mods and Starbound spaghetti code, element I haven't tried it unmodded yet. Demon supports multiplayer, so you don't have to travel through space alone, or you can enable player versus player and see who has the better build. There's plenty of things you can do in Starbound. Is this just Terraria, Ovo? Wait, what? It's just Terraria, but in space. Think about it. 2D pixelated graphics with primarily horizontal generation of environment, unrealistic weaponry. A good chunk of that's from mods in Starbound, but go off. And fighting several eldritch horrors. You having a Terraria mod doesn't help my case, Ovo. Well... I got this. Superficially speaking, yes, Starbound and Terraria are very similar. But just because they look quite similar does not mean they are the same. It's like how there are so many paintings of fruit, but they all hold a different charm to them. In a strange way, this follows the principles of Walter Benjamin. Who, Ovo? The Aura Guy. Yes, the Aura Guy, narrated. His essay, The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction, talks about this sort of aura that comes with art. Think of aura as the beauty of a moment. The blooming of a cherry blossom, the glowing oranges of a sunrise. To me at least, these feats of nature have an aura. Art is that certain uniqueness that each piece of art has. How do flowers have to do with Starbound OST? What I am saying is that even if there are other sunrises, they all hold their own special qualities. Maybe the day is cloudy or rainy. Maybe the birds had gotten up before you and you can hear their chirping as you watch the sun gradually light up the world. Each sunrise has its own aura. The same goes for comparing Terraria and Starbound. Sure, some qualities are similar in terms of gameplay and aesthetics, but they are ultimately different. Terraria uses its category as an open sandbox game to explore the generated area around the player, defeat bosses, and house NPCs, while Starbound also features housing NPCs both in your crew and as tenants for houses, defeating bosses, and area exploration. It also features various civilizations that you can explore, criminal bounties to fight and enforce justice, and more species to access with the base game alone. I do not think you can be a three-eyed fish person in Terraria, not to mention that no game file is exactly the same. Yep. The way that things are generated in Starbound means that each game is different, and you won't always get the same NPCs, planets, and equipment. For example, I've got 2 files with PizzaNet characters with the same ship type, but they can't be any more different. Not to mention that these simple mechanics can bring a plethora of new ideas and give modders new ways to expand on them. Hell, that's why my game is so modded, because people found ways to expand on the mechanics. Pizzas aren't even in the base game. Though I have to say that this is not the best example, even if your friend recommended it to you and allowed you to have me in it. Yeah, I gotta admit that the whole Starbound being space Terraria meme makes it a bit hard to focus on the mechanics of it. Seems we'll have to go down to the crypt. What crypt? Although, the crypt of the... Oh, thank the gods, I have all my tales back. Welcome to Crypt of the Necrodancer. Made back in April 23rd, 2015 by Brace Yourself Games, it combines the random dungeon generation of roguelike games and the musical focus of rhythm games into one. See those bars at the bottom of the screen? That's your metronome. The very core of the gameplay is that you must move and act to the beat of the background music, as does everything around you. The enemies move to the music, the bomb ticks down on beat, even the barrels roll on beat. As you go through the crypt, you pick up weapons, armor, and all sorts of other equipment. Now you can either go through each zone one by one while getting permanent upgrades with diamonds, or go through all zones in one run. As you go further through the zones, the tempo of the background music gets faster, meaning you have to make quicker judgments. Over time you have to learn your enemies' patterns and how to adapt quickly. And at the end of each zone, there's a boss that you must defeat, each with their own gimmicks. There's King Konga, where you skip every 8th beat, Fortissimo, where the boss Raptor is still alive, and this 175 BPM backspawning skeleton summoning fire baby bastards who use the pain of my existence! Calm down, narrator, you've gotten better at beating that club. That doesn't stop me from seeing this every time! As you clear more zones with the main character Cadence, you unlock more characters, like her mom, Melody, and clearing all zones with Melody unlocks her mom, Aria. Additionally, there's downloadable content featuring a new zone with new characters and equipment, the ability for co-op with some other new characters, and letting you play as famous virtual idol Hatsune Miku. Why Hatsune Miku, Ovo? The real question is, why not? I consider that a very high achievement. By the way, aren't the graphics a bit outdated, Ovo? What do you mean, outdated? Look at all the other great games, like The Last of Us Part 2, Ovo. I am a cheapskate and don't have a PlayStation. I have never played The Last of Us Part 2. Well, you should at least know it. It's got a complex storyline that intertwines these two characters and their struggles, platform mechanics, a skill tree, quite extensive. Not to mention the budget it was made on allows for superior graphics, Ovo. Alright, that is it. Bring forth the manifesto. Wait, not a Cyborg manifesto by Donna Haraway! That thing is barely decipherable. Understanding only goes as far as the narrators, Ovo. And what if I told you that Haraway was still alive? Hada, that's even worse. Why you bring the manifesto? Despite how hard this is to read, especially for me, it does have some solid insight. Here, Haraway talks about the concept of a cyborg. Now, we are not talking about a cyborg in a sci-fi sense. To her, a cyborg is a blurring of boundaries. Instead of an absolute binary, there's a spectrum, a mixture. There's not a defined line between human and machine, especially nowadays with how everyone is connected on the internet. Hell, we have gone to the point where there are robots that can impersonate people online, albeit it's a bit poorly. And this connects with video games. How? Ovo? To put it simply, it is the difference between being a puppeteer of the gameplay and being part of the gameplay. For both The Last of Us Part 2 and Crypt of the Necrodancer, you have a clear view of who you are playing as. Forma does not do anything outstanding in how you interact with the world and watch the narrative play out. You run around, you fire guns, you kill zombies, you loot things. But it's different. No purpose done as the enemy's realistic behavior, Ovo. And that is the highlight of it. That is it. Stealth mechanics and predictive enemy behavior are nothing new, do not get me wrong, these are great, but we have seen them all before. Switching between weapons feels like selecting from a menu. Blood even splatters onto the screen with a mayday kill, as if you are a camera over the character's shoulder. You do not feel like you are a member of the experience. You merely feel like you are controlling it or a spectator. You do not start with realism, this is set as a zombie apocalypse. Crypt as a Necrodancer is different in that respect. To be good at the game, you must know the enemy's patterning, make quick decisions, and most of all be one with the rhythm. Music is the most central part of the game. The most important mechanic is moving to the beat. Of course, there are obstacles to that, like switches that speed up or slow down the music, or a mini-boss that deafens you once you hit it, making you rely on the physical metronome. If you've already got a handle on the rhythm, this isn't too bad. You don't even need to look down at the beat bars once you get there. Exactly. The way the game's mechanics work allows you to be immersed in it. That boundary between you and the game begins to fade as you tap your foot to the beat or begin singing with the shopkeeper. Hell, now it has 3 different versions of the soundtrack saved on her Spotify and is waiting for the melody mix version to be released on it. Don't go calling me out like this. It simply is this concept of a boundary-breaking cyborg mirrors that of games with revolutionary mechanics. Mechanics are the foundations of games, are they not? By immersing the player in the game through these mechanics, they are more engaged in their work. Okay, if these mechanics are so great, then explain VOD, Ovo. The entire point of VOD is that you don't have to follow the beat, so he completely disregards these mechanics you hold so highly, Ovo. Have you ever heard of flourishes? See? Music's still integral. People use Bard as a practice for getting the BPM right, to beat your training wheels. If you just play using Bard, you're missing out on the main mechanic of the game, and you can't unlock some of the other characters. He's only one out of so many characters. Moving to the beat is still core of the game. In conclusion, the very core mechanics of video games make them outstanding, from space exploration and expansion to following the beat with each movement. These things, as small as they seem, shape the in-game world that you interact with. And games that go out of their way to push past the established and try something new highlight these. And there's plenty more games that I could have talked about. Turning fighting games into strategy with your only move is hustle, utilizing population genetics and niche. And some much smaller games like Out of Control by McNugget, where your movement depends on the keys in certain slots, which you can adjust. The list goes on. Okay, all of that is great, but how does that even matter in the grand scheme of things? They're just games, Ovo. That is true. Why are you focusing on game mechanics anyway? I thought you were an artist and writer. Firstly, I am still an artist and writer. Second of all, because the very core mechanics of a game shape them. ProZD has a video skit about a game's environment not exactly aligning with the gameplay, like putting Candy Crush-esque Match 3 mechanics into gritty fantasy with a compelling story. It throws people off and is frankly not great. By emphasizing the core mechanics of a game and molding the environment of the game around it, it creates synergy and harmony. Starbound's exploration begets the vastness of outer space, and Necrodancer's emphasis on music means there are music puns and references almost everywhere, along with the whimsy of fantasy dungeon crawling. Having the world and writing of a game mirror its mechanics makes a good game, or at least a decent one, but Starbound and Necrodancer didn't win awards for nothing. So, yeah, that makes for the end of the video. What now? How about we just head outside and touch grass, as the youth say? Explore the planet, go through the crypt. Maybe we can bring that one there along. Wait, hold on. What are you even implying, Ovo? Were you not kicked into the woods for 5 years? This is no different. Do not go bitching about it, no fair. Thanks for watching, bye!
GG. Easy. My build's better. Cry about it.